Welcome to SDH's coverage of the USL-W National Semifinals. We'll take you through each of the brackets and find out how we got to the Final Four in the USL-W League for 2024. First off, what we'll do is we'll go through the brackets and get you squared away with your highlights on the left-hand side of the bracket and how it worked out for the USL-W League on the left-hand side. You would end up with a group that is going to continue to stay at home in the form of a Detroit City FC. Detroit City, they had, when you look at the bracket low left, in the Central, it was one of the toughest ones around. You had Minnesota Aurora and Indy 11 and Detroit City and first-year club River Light FC. They were all playing at Keyworth and Hamtramck. Minnesota Aurora, Indy 11 in the first round of the playoff bracket. Indy 11 would advance, knocking off Aurora. Detroit City would advance after taking out River Light FC. So when Indy 11 and Detroit City got together, it was for a chance in the Final Four. Here's your highlights, courtesy of our friends at Detroit City FC, their own selves, and YouTube.
Fell off of it, but Shriver's down to claim it. Good to see Shriver out there after taking a knock to her leg in the dying moments of the River Light game on Friday. Tried to find Emily Paget there, but maybe just Indy 11 putting the pressure on. Good turn there, right-footed shot's going to come, and Shriver's not over to it, and Maisie Whitsett gives Indy 11 the lead inside 7 minutes at Keyworth Stadium.
Well, Detroit tried to play the ball out there. It was sort of a misplaced pass. Indy jumped on it, and again, the rapidness of that Indy attack to turn winning the ball into a shot on goal. It's really kind of terrifying how quickly they're able to do that.
Yeah, not only the turn, to have the shot, to have the quality to be able to tuck it in that far corner, make it difficult for Shriver to have to make a save. And you know, to the credit of the Detroit City FC back line, Shriver hasn't had much to do all season. So to put her under pressure early here is going to be something that we'll see how she adapts, and that whole back line, how they adapt in this first half. Good job to slip in. Bosley just goes off the feet of Barr and out for a throw-in. Sulis now playing the ball forward. Romine was making a darting run at the far post. It's onto it, and it's in the back of the net! Emily Paget! She only needed half of a chance, and she finds the equalizer at Keyworth. It's 1-1.
That's really wonderful control to bring that ball down and hit it on the half volley. Found the corner. That's a laser.
We saw Emily Paget score from a similar position for the third goal on Friday. And here again, off the header, takes the touch and right foot pass it past Kate Phillips.
Kate Phillips had absolutely no chance at reaching that one. That is as clean as you can strike a ball right there.
Inside, over to Romine. Romine on the touchline. We see her. This is one of the strongest positions she operates from when receiving the ball on the touchline. Jacob lays it back off to Romine. Romine has Offer out wide if she can find her. Great job to play Anella Offer. Offer a right-footed ball across. Romine arriving at the far post. It's 2-1, Detroit City FC.
And that was the first time we've really seen Romine get that involved in the play. Really nice give and go with Jekyll to spring that attack and then find Ella Offer out wide. And you can see what it means when she does get involved in the play like that.
We've been saying it all game that Detroit City FC has to find a way to get Sophia Romine involved. It was a great start of the play by Romine, all the way out to Offer. Offer with a dangerous cutback back inside, and Sophia Romine of Romeo, Michigan makes it 2-1 Detroit City FC.
Just saw 4 minutes go up from the fourth official, so there will be 4 minutes at least of added time.
Left-footed ball into the area. Washing up for the header, misses out. Falls to the feet of Romine. Never a bad position to be in with Sophia Romine on the ball. Romine lays it off inside to Tefend. Tefend to the goal line. Plays a left-footed ball across. Indy 11 keeper goes for it. Bosley pays it in. On the ground, Addison! It's 3-1 Detroit City FC! Kayla Addison, the all-time leading goal scorer for LaRouge, adds her 11th total and gives Detroit City FC some breathing room.
So Detroit City advances, and who would they host? The answer, Colorado Storm. Colorado Storm in the West, as you fill out your brackets upper left, it was a battle of the Storms. And apparently Colorado Storms are more powerful than California Storms right now. Colorado would advance with a win over California. FC Olympia would beat Oakland Soul And so FC Olympia and Colorado Storm would meet each other, and it would be a win for Colorado Storm. 19th minute shot by Jaden Goodridge, and that would be all she wrote. Colorado Storm winner 1-0, and they would advance. So the left-hand side of the bracket in Hamtramck, 7 o'clock on Saturday night, it is Colorado Storm in Detroit City. Right-hand side of the bracket, Eastern, in the Eastern Conference, here's how it laid out. It was North Carolina Courage U23s, Lancaster Inferno, Long Island Rough Riders, and Eagle FC. And it was a long trip to Pennsylvania, but it would end up being very, very fruitful for North Carolina Courage. They would knock off Inferno in round one. Long Island would beat Eagle in the other semifinal. And in the final, North Carolina Courage would beat the Long Island Rough Riders by the score of 3-0. 13th straight win this season. It was Alexis Strickland with a goal, Ivy Garner with a goal, Hannah Jabril with a goal. 3-0. The Jabril goal coming in the 90th minute, and it would be North Carolina Courage advancing to get to the finals out of the Eastern Conference and in the national semifinals. Here's SDH's conversation with head coach Willie Davis after the win and getting out of the Eastern Conference. Someone who is in a national semifinal in the USL-W. We now bring in Willie Davis, the head coach of North Carolina Courage's U23s. Coach, as always, it's great to see you. Great to have you on the show, and that usually means that you're making another deep playoff run. It is John, it is Maddie, and it is Nick. Welcome to the show.
Nice to chat with you guys, and thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
It's been another deep playoff run for you in USL-W, and I know that this is the expectation for you and everyone within the Courage organization. So what's it like to be in the national semifinals again?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that we were striving for, and I looked at the Final Four a couple days ago and realized I think we're the only returning team to it. So it's an achievement that we were gunning for, and you never know if it can happen 2 years in a row. So we're excited to be in this position.
Maddie Cruz, first question for Coach Davis is the North Carolina Courage are in the USL-W national semifinals, right-hand side of the bracket.
Yeah, I mean, I'll kind of go back just looking at Tennessee SC and seeing kind of what they bring to the table. What are you expecting for this matchup between you guys?
I'm expecting, Tennessee is a youth organization and within their semi-pro league, they produce some good players that play at some high-level universities, and we typically do the same. I think our model is a little different because we also use a decent amount of youth players in our U23 format, which is always great. I've watched a little bit of their game against Asheville, and I know they've had a couple battles with Asheville this year, who was previously in our conference, and they got a really nice goal to get them put themselves in position. So I'd imagine it to be a pretty competitive contest, and good soccer for people to come out and watch.
Nick Khalifi for Willie Davis is North Carolina Courage is in a national semi in the USL-W League. Go for it.
All right, got a bit of a psychology question for you. So win or go home, it's easy for especially younger athletes to get into their head in these situations and put too much pressure on themselves. How do you balance the need for urgency with the need to just play the game? When you talk to players, how do you teach them to sort of handle that critical anxiety of a win or go home match?
Yeah, great question. I mean, it's a unique situation when you're dealing with the USL-W League players because you don't have them year round. So the psychological impact and how quickly you have to try to get them on point with whatever your mission is on the year can be a challenging one. But I think what we do is we start out with having a ton of players who have come through our youth program. So we have an alumni base, which is unbelievable. So first and foremost, we don't have to force a style of play very often. It is rare. It is very rare. So that's a great thing. So our game itself doesn't fail us much because most of our players know what Courage is supposed to play like from top to bottom. And two, we're lucky we're in the ACC belt and what have you, that other different schools, we got a lot of top level players who have been in some crunch situations. So they kind of have that mindset, be it from, really high level daily training within their universities or the games they play in within their conferences. And then our youth players that we bring in, we're lucky. The youth players that we still have involved, I think all of them except for maybe one just finished playing in a national playoff in Seattle. And 5 of those kids that just played with us in the last round were, advanced out of bracket in Seattle against top teams around the country. So I try to keep a sense of calm in the camp itself. Don't focus much on winning because our mindset is, that's what we know we're trying to do. So we don't talk about it a lot. Make the training environment as competitive as possible and, just go after it from there.
So then do you focus still on yourselves in these situations with the quick turnarounds and the weekends where you're having to advance and, survive and advance kind of a thing? And because of the familiarity with the system, do you get to spend more time on your opponent than you would otherwise in a situation like this? Or is it still, I'm going to focus on us, we're going to do our thing, so we're at 100% when we go up against these opponents?
Yeah, 85-90% is focusing on us. One, you brought up the quick turnaround, the recovery piece. We played on Friday and Sunday and traveled 6 hours on the bus there and back. And I felt like we managed the kids really well. But, the Monday was a travel day home. So that was a recovery day for the most part. Today will be a bit of a recovery day, fairly light. Tomorrow we'll go after it and talk tactics a bit and put some things into play for our opponent and then play Saturday. But for the most part, when you have the situations like this, and you give the example, we played Friday, I watched film, did our pregame meeting, gave the kids bits of information, a little bit of video clips of stuff. And then the Sunday game was a quick turnaround, and it was really hot in Mechanicsburg. We just did basically recovery over those next that day in between, talked about our opponent, showed them some clips again as well. And we'll do the same here. We'll focus on Tennessee a bit, but it's really about what we're going to do to try to take away their game. We go from there.
Maddie Cruz for Willie Davis.
Just looking at what you guys have been able to accomplish this season, it's your 13th straight win this season after you guys faced off against Long Island Rough Riders to make it here. How proud are you of your team this season and what you guys have accomplished and getting back here to another national semifinal for you guys?
Yeah, it's exciting, and it's great to have. It's great to have players that are committed to whatever our cause and our mission is. And, these are not paid professionals. They don't have to be here for any of the teams that are in this position. And, we're lucky enough to have a base, like I said, of former Courage kids, youth players, but also players who have gotten wind of, what our environment's like and what they want to be a part of. And, it puts us in this position. And pride is probably the best word to put it, because you're right. We've been on a bit of run and we hope we can keep it up. But, the team has lost, 2 games in 3 years, and one of them being the national finals last year. And I think everybody knows, being in sports, it's always difficult to get back to whatever that promised land is, that top level is. And so it's really exciting for the kids. It's exciting to have this opportunity. And I'm very, very proud of what they've accomplished so far.
Nick Alifi for Willie Davis.
All right, I'm going to come at you from left field yet again, Coach, because here's the thing. I am a nerd about certain things. And one thing, we are in July. Last time I checked, I'm looking at the calendar now. Yep, we're still in July. For a lot of parents out there who have their kids in sports, they have their kids, practicing, training, being a part of teams, please, God, talk to these parents about the importance of proper hydration, because I keep having conversations with people and they're like, oh yeah, my kid's drinking sodas and whatnot. And, are you focusing on hydration at all? No, not really. But we can't figure out why he keeps picking up injuries and whatnot. Please talk to these parents about the importance of damn hydration, especially on a short turnaround.
Yeah, I don't know if you're being a nerd about it or if you're just being super passionate, but
he's also a dad who has athletes for kids.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I have 2 daughters that are in our Courage program that it's funny you bring that up. I've been in this business for a while. I've played at a good level. I've coached at a good level, and my wife played at a high level as well. And she's a physical therapist and has worked with athletes. And with all of the education we provide our kids, it's still it's an everyday battle. And that's just, it's kids. And I mean, I'd be the first to tell you, I think when I played consistently, I probably wasn't the best at it either, but when I look at where kids are now, and, you bring up the hydration piece, and I'll take it a step further and say, in our club side, we push and talk a ton about overtraining, about lack of recovery, about obviously lack of hydration and nutrition. And we try to implement some things to help. But it is the world we live in, and people think that more sometimes is better, and it's just not. And the proper health, I mean, we've all been there. When you're young, you feel like you're invincible. So kids don't get it until it's too late sometimes, So yeah, I definitely believe in what you're talking about. We push it. I think when we were just gone in Mechanicsburg, we had a great support staff with our intern Lily and our one of the main operational people for the women's team, Lexi. They did a great job of making sure our players did not miss the boat on anything. So, in this environment, you've got to purposely not try to be hydrated or recover. On the other side of it, parents, yeah, he's right. You just got to be better at helping our kids with it.
When it comes to North Carolina Courage and everything that either we're talking the NWSL side with their championships, which you've been building there on the U23 side in the USL-W League, and the pedigree that is being established, every single season with the pipelines and the new folks that come in, how do you keep the pressure from getting to these young athletes while they understand what the end game is? Because to me, that seems like it's a real difficult balance to sit there and go, yes, we have this pedigree, we have these goals and aspirations, but we don't want you to get bogged down with the pressure that's attached to the expectation. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's the landscape's ever changing. I mean, I think the pressure. And you mentioned in-game. I think the in-game's changed for kids even more because so many of our female athletes are now really looking at the professional side more. The NWSL was always the promised land, I guess, for the professional side. And now you have the USL Super League that's starting up. You have more kids that go to Europe to cut their teeth if they can't, cut it here in the States, because the game in the States is a different type of game than it is in the European world. I think pressure is interesting. I mean, it's I think it was what Billie Jean King has said, pressure is a privilege, and I think that it's teaching kids that pressure is okay, and learning how to channel it and balance it and deal with it has been our part of our task. I think as a youth culture, as coaches and educators and leaders, we have to continue to be better at that. And I'm going through a leadership course right now that is completely blowing my mind on what leadership looks like. And I've been doing this for a while, so it's scrambled me a little bit in the point of where it makes me get better at trying to help our players with these things you're talking about. But I think it's really daily understanding that it's day-to-day goals that you set for the players set for themselves, having clear and defined team missions and objectives, and then keeping you in line with them and knowing what's tolerated and what won't be tolerated. And it kind of helps players move on to that next set because, give you an example, a bunch of my 07s and my daughter being one of them will be in college next year, and they have no idea what it's like to go into college and deal with that pressure cooker. So it's a constant, I won't say battle, but evolution on helping them with these things.
All right, cut the promo for me. When's the national semifinal? When do folks need to gravitate to everything North Carolina Courage so they can see you guys take on Tennessee SC on the right-hand side of the bracket? Hit the promo for me.
Yes, we play this Saturday, July 13th at 6 o'clock p.m. at Wake Med on field number 2. We'll be out there, start warming up about 5:15-ish and kick off at 6:05.
Looking forward to it. As always, Coach, great to catch up with you this time of year. Great to catch up with you all the times that we get to do that. But normally when we catch up with you, it means that North Carolina Courage are making another deep playoff run. Thanks for dropping by the morning show. Good luck this weekend. We'll be keeping an eye on you as you're in the Final Four there in the USL-W League, chasing after another championship.
Thanks, John. I appreciate you guys, and have a great rest of the day.
There we go. That's Coach Davis. And it's
How you doing, Coach?
great to catch up with Coach Davis and find out what's going on there at North Carolina Courage. So we've had a lot of stuff this morning. So that leaves the Southern Conference. Florida Elite Soccer Academy, Asheville City, AHFC Royals, and Tennessee SC, all in Asheville, North Carolina. Asheville City would beat Florida Elite Soccer Academy in the semifinals. Tennessee SC would beat AHFC Royals, so it would be Asheville City, Tennessee SC meeting up one more time. And it would end up being Tennessee SC who get their first ever national semifinal appearance after beating Asheville City 1-0. Keaton Mitchell with a goal in the 75th minute on a free kick from outside the box. Bailey Fiore for Tennessee between the sticks had a lot of saves in the final 15 minutes. Tennessee SC would end up getting the win 1-0. So the right-hand side of the bracket, North Carolina Courage, you heard from Willie Davis. Now it's time to catch up with Logan Fisher and find out what's going on at the Tennessee Soccer Club. This was on the Friday morning SDH morning show. Wasting no time, hour number 2, and it's time to catch up with Logan Fisher, and we will see what's going on with Coach as they're getting ready for Tennessee SC and North Carolina Courage in the right-hand side of the bracket, and they're getting ready for the USL Final Four. Coach, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing all right. Yeah, how much of a creature of habit are you when it comes to routine on game days and things like that? Do you have superstitions or rituals or whatever you want to call them for game days?
I wouldn't say rituals, but we definitely, from the time we go out to, the warm up itself to, everything. I think I said consistent environment a million times in the last interview. And again, that's one of the things that no surprises for the girls. Can they be as comfortable as possible? So they know exactly what to expect down to the minute. And but no real rituals. Try and take a quick moment and pray before every game, and that's it for me. So.
Well, and the reason I ask, somewhat selfishly, is because, every time that you've come on the show here in this stretch run, you've continued to win. And I didn't know if, we should take any kind of credit for that.
Oh, hey, we'll send a trophy your way.
I will take it. When you look at this run that you've been able to piece together, I know that everyone's gunning for you every single time. You've got the bullseye on the front of the jersey and the back of the jersey each and every time that you go out, because everybody looks at national rankings. Oh, Tennessee Soccer Club's coming to town. We'll try and knock them off of their perch and send them home early. When it comes to managing expectations and making sure that you still play within yourself, how difficult is it as the season gets longer and longer and longer to tune out all of this noise that folks like me keep bringing up?
Again, just, taking each game as it goes. The girls obviously always know what the task is at hand going into it. And again, we don't, like I told you a couple interviews ago, we spoke about the national rankings for the first week because it was new to the franchise, and we enjoyed it for that first week, and it hasn't been brought up since. So we know the job that's at hand, and it's to take each game at a time and do our maximum effort to get a win in that time frame leading up to the game, and then we move on to the next one the second the game is over. So we won against Asheville to clinch a conference title, and we enjoyed it on the field for 10 minutes, and then it was all eyes on NC Courage immediately afterwards. So
how difficult was that environment? Because a lot of folks know that you go to Asheville, you take on Asheville City, whether it's on the men's side or the women's side, that it is a tough place to play, and going through that weekend to get to where you are now. How difficult was the weekend on and off the field, managing everything and expectations and knowing what you wanted to do? How difficult a grinder was it up there?
That was a tough weekend. I actually got sick. Don't know if you can hear it in my voice.
A little cloudy with the nasal, yeah.
Yeah, so in between game 1 and game 2, I was locked in a hotel. Didn't even see the girls on Saturday, and then thankfully I have an incredible staff that was able to get me through the game on Sunday. So just little things like that, people taking knocks on the first day. How quickly can we get them recovered? And and ready to go for the Sunday. Down to Friday night, the game got delayed because of weather, so our warm up is interrupted, and just the little details that I've had to commend the girls multiple times on throughout the year. Of, this is a pre-professional league. We've got girls that have went on to play pro out of the club in this past 5-6 months, and we keep pushing for more of them to move on and take that same direction. And how we help with that is to give them the most professional environment to succeed in. And obviously I've got friends in the pro game, and nothing, even at the USL Championship level, they strive to make sure that there's no blips, and there's always something small that comes up. But our girls have handled everything this season. We played in multiple home stadiums. We, little story going down to SSA, we get stuck in Chattanooga traffic, and
there.
Yeah, we're rushing to get to the state. Just little things like that. Obviously, nothing massive. Obviously, what we control really, really well from a staff perspective. But the girls just handle everything so professionally. They just get on with the job that's at hand. So, the fans definitely played a part in the weekend. Obviously it's really nice, and you have to commend Asheville for the environment that they've been able to produce, not only at their previous stadium that I got to go to when I was on the men's side, but also what they're doing here at UNC Asheville and the environment that they create and the fan base that they've created. And it was a tough night on Sunday, but tactically we were able to stifle them as much as we possibly can and take our chances when they arose. So
how difficult is it when you're sick and you're locked in a hotel room? And I know that it's like, are you passing notes under the doors? Are you like, yelling through the door, assignments and things? Are notes getting passed? How does this work when you're there? Or is it complete and total trust in the assistants that are there, that they know what's going on? We've been around each other long enough. We're in that much of a rhythm that they can handle it. They can pick up the phone. They can call me. I can be on speaker. How does that work?
Well, in all honesty, I massively trust my staff. They took the brunt of everything that needed to be done. And again, we honestly didn't. We've played Asheville so many times. I actually took Saturday as an opportunity to give the girls a breather, and just to refresh. And this has been such a grind this summer. A lot of them, haven't had a chance to see family or go to the beach like every other college student wants to do. So gave them the day to go explore Asheville and in a smart way, obviously go get some smoothies and bond as a team. And then we picked it up again early Sunday morning and went through the video of Asheville versus Florida. So, but I, massive trust in my staff. They have been around me long enough now. This is the second year. They know my standard and expectations. So, a couple of assignments were texted into the group chat, but they took it and ran with it, and they know exactly what needs to be done at all times. So
when it comes to being in a rhythm like that for with you and your coaching staff, was there a moment in a season where you sat there and it's like, yeah, okay, we're of the same brain here? Or was it just something that evolved over time? Was it one of those snap things where it's like, yep, okay, we're all on the same page? Or just being around each other, you kind of get into that Borg-like environment where it's like, yeah, okay, we are of the same brain here?
No, it was probably a slow burner. The girls joke a little bit. I'm a little bit easier to work with this year than I was last year. To take a group that really, really struggled in year one and to get them to the level that we got them last year and then increase it into this year, there was going to be a little bit of growing pain there, and for the coaching staff as well. I'm massive on detail and organization, and last year I always point to last year, that South Carolina Bantams result on the road where we get last minute equalizer from Meredith Nye. I think that was the moment in our season where everything just clicked. We took a weakened squad down there. We had a couple of injuries at the time, and to grind out a result against a very, very good team. I think, that's that moment where the coaching staff and the players, we all just sort of merged into one, and then it really started not becoming robotic, but also, or just everyone just on the same page and moving in the right direction. And obviously, I always point to that South Carolina result because we go on an 8-game winning streak from there and clinch the playoffs. So, until Asheville a couple of weeks ago in the regular season, we hadn't lost a regular season game in something like, I think it was 20 games or 19 games or something like that. So, definitely a slow burner, but again, it just comes to the standard and expectation that we set as a club and as a franchise, and this is what's going to be done, and everyone moving in that same direction.
Another couple of minutes here with Logan Fisher, the head coach at Tennessee SC, as they get ready for North Carolina Courage and traveling to Cary. We're catching up with him before he hops on the bus and heads to Cary to take on Courage at WakeMed this weekend in the national semifinals in the USL-W League. When it comes to what we do sometimes with some of our other programming is we have a lot of high school programming and we have college programming that's aside from all the leagues that we cover. One of the features that we like to have is what we call Make That Kid an Offer. And it's for an athlete that for whatever reason, they're too whatever. And yes, I did just use air quotes on the video version, where they could be too small. They could be, they could be coming from too small a town. They could be too small an individual. They could be too light. The weight might be an issue, that they look like they, very, very skinny, and they look like they may not fit into the cleats that you've been given. For whatever reason, they're not getting the looks that you think they deserve, or they think that they should be getting more looks and could be at a higher level than where they currently are. When it comes to the athletes on your roster, does anyone fit into that overlooked element where you're sitting there saying, I don't know why they're at this particular location. They need to be at a higher level, and folks need to be looking out for this player because they are far better than what they're being looked at right now? Does anybody fit that, Make That Kid an Offer look for you?
Yeah, I have a ton, man. Even from, I have to shout out Keaton Mitchell for she is at a massive school at UT, obviously easing her there, Joe there at UT is easing her into that system, I'm sure. But she's one that, if you look at her minutes and what she was able to give to UT last season compared to the level that she's played at this summer, I think, that's one where, the folks that follow the SEC and the football in the SEC there, that, she's going to be one definitely to watch out for. I've spoken about her on the show a couple of times, Meredith Nye. Mm-hmm. That's another one at Tennessee Tech where, in the right system at the next level in the professional ranks, she is a phenomenal asset. She breaks up play. She does exactly what we ask of her. Again, she fits our system perfectly, and she played tons of minutes last year for us, and has been very solid in our plans and lineups this year as well. So even going back to, she made a debut earlier on in the year, but is now getting a bit of a run. Bailey Fiore in goal for us, Division II goalkeeper. Plays at Trevecca Nazarene here in Nashville, and she's another one where, does she fit the profile of your average, Power 5 Division I goalkeeper? Probably not. So a little on the shorter side when you just look at her, but what she was able to do in those 2 games in the playoffs, 2 clean sheets, multiple massive saves in massive moments for us, coming out, claiming crosses especially against an Asheville side that not only is, they have the size, but rely on set pieces a little bit as well. So, we have multiple in the squad. We're very blessed to have, your Anna Haddocks, your Katie Shays, your Maddie Podelskis, your Courtney Jones, all playing at massive schools, Alabama, Vanderbilt, Auburn, South Carolina. But the core of our group comes from, the schools that you look on paper and you think, oh, they must not be that good. But, Destiny, at center back for us, plays at Chowan in North Carolina, has been phenomenal for us this season. Then you got your Tennessee Techs, Trevecca Nazarens. It's just what we've been able to do as a group comes down to the individuals that we brought in. Again, you can't judge a book by its cover, and what you see on paper isn't always true. And the system works for these girls, and they get to play with some of the best girls in the country, but they also, they're not there to just take part. They're there to be a part of the group that takes over. So, they've been phenomenal for us, and it's, a testament to them as individuals.
As always, it's great to have you on. You're getting ready to take on North Carolina Courage in the national semifinals on the right-hand side of the bracket this weekend. Be safe getting down there. Have a great match, and we'll be keeping an eye on things, and we'll be catching up with you soon. Thanks for dropping by before you hop on the bus.
Yeah, thanks, John. We'll speak to you guys soon.
So that's your Final Four. It is a matchup in Cary at 6 o'clock on Saturday night. North Carolina Courage U23s going up against Tennessee SC. Once again, reminder, Colorado Storm comes in from Fort Collins. They travel to Detroit and take on Detroit City in suburban Detroit and Hamtramck at Keyworth. That one is at 7 o'clock on your Saturday night. The winners take on each other in the 2024 W League Final. That'll be July 20. And when we know the winners of what happens on July 13, we'll know more about July 20, the where and the when. That is your breakdown of the USL-W League National Semifinals. Detroit City, Colorado Storm, North Carolina Courage U23s, and Tennessee SC going to battle it out to determine who is going to play in the final next weekend. National semifinals are set this weekend, and we hope that you have enjoyed the preview. If you can't be in either Hamtramck or Cary, make sure that you find a way to follow your favorite team through their social media platforms, and we will be back at it again next week to preview the USL-W final, and we'll let you know what the two survivors think as they are chasing after a championship in the USL-W League. For everybody here at SDH, I'm John Nelson. Thanks for dropping by. Thanks for hanging out with us. That's our preview of the USL-W League National Semifinals. Played safe, everybody. We'll see you next time.